Welcome to Livingston, our podcast where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations to talk about what they are giving to our community.
As real estate professionals with the KLAA Group, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week.
Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston. Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast. My name is Don Pacella.
And I'm Angela Pacella, and we're with the KLAA Group Real Estate Professionals. And this podcast has been brought to you by Jim Paquette with Lake Michigan Credit Union. And we appreciate his support and all that he does in the community. He's outstanding.
Yeah, he is a small town community guy and just very involved, and I just love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, each week we tend to bring a lot of the small businesses and causes from within the county to lift them up, give them a voice. And it's such a pleasure to be able to do that. But every now and again.
Yeah, every now and again, we have an episode that's just the two of us. And the variety of topics we talk about changes for that as well.
Yeah.
So today, we have the summer coming to an end here.
Yeah.
Which means a school bus season.
Yeah. Back to school, baby.
Yes. So we wanted to talk about just that switch over, that change a little bit, and key on a few items.
Yeah, it kind of affects people that don't have kids in the school districts even too, honestly.
It really does.
Culturally, within our county, there's a lot that happens.
Yeah, no, right around Labor Day. I mean, for some of the districts before Labor Day, so we're going to talk about that, right? Yeah. But it is a big switch over.
Yeah. It's like Michigan with all the seasons, right?
It is. So, one of the things we wanted to start on is when you look at Livingston County, talk about timing and when school starts, right?
Right.
So traditionally, when me and you were growing up, school always started that Tuesday after Labor Day.
After Labor Day.
The entire state, that's when they started.
Yeah, we're dating ourselves, I think.
That's okay.
We're a little old school guys, sorry.
Yeah, but that's changed a little bit now.
It really has.
So, I mean...
Now, Brighton's sticking with it, and CSA, and there's
some of them that stick with it. But then other ones start early, such as Howell.
Yeah, Howell and Hartland. They are diehards, guys. Like this year, I think it's August 19th, which is a Wednesday. It's like the middle of August. And so by the time this is coming out, they'll have already gone back to school. So for those that don't have kids in the district, you might be wondering why in the world you're seeing school buses. Well, it's because kids are heading back.
And I mean, a lot of those kids have already started, if you're in fall sports.
Oh, yeah.
You're already going to practice. You're doing all of that, right?
Yeah, cheers started at the beginning of July.
Exactly. And I know those fall camps for football are out there right now, and they're in practice and everything. So, and some of these districts, they chose to start earlier to align with the college schedule because so many kids nowadays, they're doing dual enrollment.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, you're doing those midterms before Christmas break. It's helping with some test scores. But then, the state wants you, they like you starting after Labor Day because a lot of people still go up north that weekend.
Right.
And they're trying to get those last minute vacations in.
That's true. But that's a good observation because over in Howell, and I imagine probably Hartland, that since they finish and can do their midterms just before
Christmas break,
the holiday break there, then that's kind of a nice, tidy time frame.
And
then
is.
Beginning the new semester. So that's a big part of why they start so early. Some of the other districts like Fowlerville, Pinckney, and Fenton, those guys go back kind of in between. They do the Goldilocks thing, so they're August 24th this year for the three of them.
Yeah, but the nice thing is for everyone out there to remember, you're going to start seeing those school buses out there.
Right.
So for some of you, that may be affecting your commute time.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey,
right?
You're getting up early to go to work, and you're coming down Brighton Road, and you're like, why is it so backed up before Bauer all of a sudden?
Is there an accident?
I forgot. Give yourself an extra 5 minutes.
Exactly. Some people have moved since last year. Maybe they don't realize the traffic patterns because I've always found that the traffic patterns were almost the worst through that September range.
No, it gets pretty backed up over by 3 fires on Latson.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the schools.
There's a lot of places all around the county. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, guys. And that's why I mentioned that even someone that doesn't have kids in the schools, they're still impacted by that, right? Because their day-to-day commute or,
right,
just as they're driving, there is a change in traffic patterns.
Exactly. So for those of you also listening out there, I wanted to talk about the Michigan budget for a second. So a few years ago during COVID, they decided to start supplying free lunches to everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Which was an amazing difference.
In the past, it was like this lower income threshold that you had to submit paperwork for and so forth.
Right.
But this was a really big change. Especially families that had multiple kids or just in general, for that warm, hot lunch there that was always around that, frankly, was actually kind of costly before then, that it really added up.
Right. But another PSA I wanted to put out there is if you are in one of these public schools that has had the free lunches for everybody the last few years, the budget did get passed and it's free lunches again this year.
Yeah.
So that way you know it going into it,
exactly
to answer that question if you had it.
Right. Well, and, a family, when they figure out their budget for the new school year, that is something that I think that they factor in because that becomes very expensive when you have to be buying all the, little products for inside the lunches.
Right. And then like the funny thing is for our son Colin, like I didn't even know, like they had free breakfasts. So he would grab a breakfast sandwich on the way to class a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah. So that's really nice that the state does that. And that's a great advantage. For a time we had a kid that refused to buy lunch, so we still had to have her make her lunch. But it's really just a great resource in terms of not just financially, but even in terms of time. Because the time for some of those moms out there and dads and kids that are trying to put a lunch together, like it's been a huge lifesaver.
Right. Yep. No, speaking of getting ready for school.
Yes.
I know we talked about it and I feel that you could start this conversation. Mm-hmm. If families out there with kids, you're transitioning. You're going from elementary to middle, you're going from middle to high school, or maybe such as us, you're going from high school to college.
Yeah.
Like
it's a transition.
End of August is a big transition time for everybody.
And you get more buy-in from those kids that as they get older and they're teenagers, right? It helps for them to have their buy-in, right?
Right.
For them to want to make sure they have just the right school supplies or for them to be prepared. I think as they get into high school, they're like, we've got this. We're just winging it, right? But when at least it's something new, it's new not just for the family, but for the kid too. And
right. Or
they understand.
They could be going to college and their kid might think that they could wing it.
That's not
speaking
fun.
From experience.
Let me tell you, some of these gray hairs, I think I've picked up some new ones here from a kid that leaves in less than a week and hasn't started packing. So,
yes, it's real. One of the things I wanted to mention with that is the change in start times for some of these kids.
Oh, that's true. That's a big transition.
Parents, keep that in mind. You're going from elementary to middle school. You're going from some of these districts, middle school to high school. And all of a sudden you're getting up earlier and earlier. And that is a big adjustment for everyone in the family.
Yeah.
Even for the pets in the family.
Yes.
It is true. A huge, that first week can be rough for everybody.
Right. Because it's not just back to school. It's a lot earlier than it used to be in some cases.
Yes. Yeah.
So that makes it interesting. That's a good observation.
It could be an hour difference between elementary and middle school for some of these districts.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that alarm's going off at 6:15.
Especially for the buses.
Yes.
Because in some situations, they have, buses, middle school kids together with high school. Depending on what's going on, ask the questions, understand, and don't just assume that the bus is at a certain time.
Yeah, jump on those websites and check the bus routes and make sure your bus schedule hasn't changed from last year.
Right. Yeah. So even those that already have it down, because those changes do happen.
Right. There's that sophomore slump where you're not checking
real
things.
Thing. Yeah.
Right. Speaking of schools, I saw that you had on here school of choice.
Yeah. So unfortunately, technically, it's a little late for this, but to start planting the seeds, right? Some people out there may not be aware of the fact that Livingston County offers school of choice, especially if someone has moved in recently or, in terms of out of the area. What it means is you don't specifically have to live in the district that your child goes to school in, right?
Right.
You can still enroll them. However, There's certain parameters, deadlines, usually in the spring.
Yeah, and some age groups, maybe they have a limited number available.
Right.
So it requires a little bit of homework, calling the district office, right?
Being ahead on these things.
Yep.
But yeah, if where you're living, the school district isn't working, but yet you love your house and you don't want to actually move, you don't have to. You can still pursue other options, and they don't necessarily have to be charter schools
Right.
or private
Or
schools.
you could be in a border neighborhood
Yeah.
where you're in a neighborhood and it's like, hey, this is technically Brighton schools, but I'm closer to Howell schools, or this fits better for me, right?
Right.
Same thing if you're in up in Hartland, or you're in Pinckney, or you're, sometimes you're right on that edge between the districts and you're like, hey, this one kind of works better for me,
Right.
or works better for my kids.
So the big difference is, well, once you're accepted, you're still able to have your child attend that school. The busing no longer applies, basically. So it's up to you. So that's probably the biggest change, is that it's up to you to bring your child to school. But for many people that we know of, and clients and so forth, I would say that they're already driving their kids.
It is very different. Again, I'm going to date myself.
Yeah.
Parents did not drive their kids to school when we were young.
Yeah.
Or very few did, right?
Yeah. Nowadays, the parking lots are very full.
Yes, and that's another thing to watch for your drive time and your commute times.
Right.
It's not just the buses.
Exactly.
It's the extra parents that are out there for all those things.
Yeah. And for people that are looking at moving in general, that's something to be aware of. That, make sure that your realtor is well versed, and be aware of what district it is. But you may find the perfect house and go, oh my gosh, it's not in the right district. Well,
right.
Well,
or it might not even be in the right elementary school.
True.
We've had people that are like very specific about the neighborhood they want to be in, based on either they want to get into a school or they want to stay in that school.
Right.
Right.
But at least by having some conversations outside and pursuing the school of choice and asking the right questions to the right people, at that point in time, that may open things up.
Right.
Because there's already so many things to make finding the perfect house difficult. You don't want that to be another one of them. Especially because down in town, they don't offer that. And if you don't live in the district, you can't.
That's
go to
not
that
true.
Oh, it's not?
No, there's a lot of districts now that offer school of choice.
So this is a big thing everywhere.
It is a big thing everywhere. You just have to see if there's openings within the school of choice.
Gotcha.
As you hit in the elementaries, there's always less openings than there are in the middle schools and the high schools.
Okay.
But school of choice is a thing. It's just you have to watch what you're doing and everything in terms of that, because some of the districts close that off if they're overly packed, and some of them have it wide open. But it's just doing a little bit of homework. I did want to mention, since we were talking about school of choice and everything, and you mentioned a little bit earlier, we have a lot of great charter schools and private schools in Livingston County.
We do.
CSA, a lot of people know about CSA.
Cheryl Stockwell is their formal name. But
Right, yeah.
CSA is,
St. Pat's,
yeah.
Shepherd of the Lakes.
Yeah.
There's Flex Tech. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there. And then with Cleary College being here, there's that dual enrollment options. So for people that are looking in the fall of like, hey, maybe you just moved into the county, or like you said earlier, maybe the school that you're in isn't working for your kid.
Right.
There's options.
Can we talk about alternative schools for a moment? People may not even know that those are out there or available.
Yeah, I have a lot of knowledge about that.
Yes, you do.
So alternative schools are a great option. They like in Brighton, they have the Bridge Alternative
high
High School.
Yeah.
Where the class sizes are smaller, they're more hands-on, and sometimes for a variety of reasons, the local high school might not be working out for your kid.
Right. Especially in terms of academics.
There's so many or social. There's so many reasons. I don't want to drop that into a bucket, right?
Okay, that's fair.
But there's so many different reasons that the school you're in might not be working, and an alternative ed offers a bit more flexibility for you. Sometimes they're on trimesters, so there's a chance to catch up on credits.
Right. So that way they're able to graduate on time.
On time, right? Sometimes it's more hands-on. So like if you wanted smaller class sizes, you wanted the teacher to be a little bit more involved, right? There's and then they have a little bit of flexibility sometimes in terms of the scope of a class.
Right.
Like
they may not have the variety that the larger high school would have, but it's a smaller environment that may work better for them.
Exactly. So there's a lot of, there's those available as well. Howell has one, Hartland has one. So there's a variety out there that is nice.
Right. And I think that really does a great service to students where way back when you had greater issues of kids slipping through the cracks and dropping out of high school, right?
Right.
This is a great solution.
It is a wonderful solution. As I said before, I know the bridge very well because for those of you that don't know, before I was in real estate, I was a high school teacher. Yeah. And I actually taught at the bridge when they first opened up. In fact, we ran into one of my students last week.
Tickled pink,
Yes.
That was so nice. What I will say is every time we run into some of your students right here in Livingston County, they always rave on and on that you made such a difference in their lives and you saw them and you heard them and you really helped lift them up.
Yes. And there's, not just me, there's so many great teachers out there.
Yeah.
And there's so many, they get into this profession because they have a passion for it and helping the students. And in alternative ed, even more so usually. They're just very connected to the kids. But I don't want to make this about me.
That's fine. No, it's all good. But especially for students that need help, that's a great place.
There's great options. If you're looking for transitioning and you're looking at Cheryl Stockwell Academy, you should look into the bridge. You should look into the one in Howell, which Innovation Academy, I believe it's called, through Howell.
Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah.
But there's, don't quote me on that, but there's options. I know that there's a lot of different ones. I mean, there's one up in Huron Valley Schools as well.
Right.
So they have them out there. Today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Paquette with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He is a trusted mortgage lender who has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Paquette is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their homeownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. Now let's dive back into the stories of the incredible entrepreneurs we are featuring today. But one of the other things I wanted to talk about since we're going into the school year.
Right.
And we already mentioned that a lot of these kids that are in fall sports are already practicing. So they've already dropped into school mode, right? Football is coming up in just a couple weeks for these high schools.
Deal. Friday Night Lights, baby.
And these communities in Livingston County get behind their football teams in such a passionate way.
It's so cool. It's like small town America, right? People that don't even have their kids there at the school show up to these games. It's a big deal.
They tailgate for high school.
Yeah. For many of the districts.
Many of the districts. Yeah. And it is so cool to see. So if you haven't experienced a high school football game in a while, these local high schools have great teams.
They do.
I know that multiple teams in Livingston County have made the playoffs the last few years.
Yeah.
So they're great to come out and watch. They're great to support them. And you get to see some great football games. I know that, Howell played against Catholic Central, and I was able to see one of the wide receiver that's going to be on the Spartans.
Yeah.
Year before last, Celine came up and played against Brighton, and Notre Dame's starting quarterback was a senior at Celine.
Wow.
So he's a sophomore at Notre Dame now, Lloyd Carr's grandson. So got to see him. So you're able to see some amazing games, some great competition, and just really go out and support them because they deserve our support.
They really do. And the neat part is some of these kids that are playing within the county, maybe not some of those big stars you mentioned that were from out of the county, but they are still moving on to do it collegiately. Smaller colleges.
We know multiple kids that are going to different programs. So they're going to play at Western, at Central, at Michigan State, at U of M.
Yeah, they're good enough to continue on with it, which is really exciting.
Which speaks to the support that the community is giving them.
Right.
And if we're going to mention
programs, right?
We should mention BBFC.
Yes.
And they're connected to, the one Howell, South Lyon, all of that.
Yeah, all the youth football leagues.
The youth football leagues in this county are amazing. And those games are going all day Saturday. So as you're out there, you're like, what is going on at the high school? It hasn't started yet. These are the things that are happening.
Yeah. Exactly. You'll be picking those up. And before long, homecoming and the parades. And if you're going to go and support, my gosh, how fun of, the kids that are there and right there in the community to support the parades.
Well, and we mentioned like the support in Brighton. If you look on the side of the pound.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that
we
they
talked
put
about that in that episode. Yeah.
They put photos of the kids up there that are in these sports. Seniors.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. In speaking of past episodes, wanted to mention that we had a chance to interview the high school principals of Brighton, Hartland, and Howell. If you did have any interest in finding out the differences of those schools and what those principals had to say, this was last summer. And so Howell was episode 147. Brighton was episode 151. And Hartland was episode 153.
And to not only hear about the schools, but hear about, one, the amazing programs that they have that you might not know they have.
Right.
And two, the collaboration between the schools.
Yes. Absolutely.
The fact that you're like, hey, I'm going to Howell, but I want to do the auto shop program. Well, Brighton has an amazing auto shop program. Right. That you're able to come across and do that, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, you're in Brighton, but you're like, you know what? I wanted to learn about EMT.
Right.
Come to Howell. They have that program.
Yeah, there's so many great programs. High school's changed so much over the years here, and a lot of great offerings. Yep. And so that was exciting to kind of hear from
Speaking of changes.
Yes.
And sports.
Yeah.
Right? So KLAA is the conference that Hartland, Howell, and Brighton are a part of.
Right.
Okay, they've been a part of this conference for a number of years. That conference is disbanding at the end of this year's season.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's
for
dissolving.
Dissolving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for those high school athletes, the teams that they've been used to competing against every year is going to be changing at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Okay, end of this school year coming up, the 26-27, right, for all sports. So they're going to be joining the Southeast Conference. So all three of those. So they're not going to be in the same conference as Novi anymore.
Right. Novi and Northville are splitting off to an Oakland County group.
Exactly. So this is their last year in that conference to play those teams. But the division that they're joining, the Southeast Conference, has Fowlerville and Pinckney in it.
Oh, cool.
So, different divisions, different sizes, but you're going to all of a sudden have different teams that they're playing, and it's going to change things. But the nice thing is Howell, Hartland, and Brighton are moving together. Yeah. So it's going to preserve those rivalries.
Right. Because those are big rivalries, and they're probably the three biggest schools, I would say, in the county. And at some point I want to get to the smaller schools. But so the KLAA is a big deal. I remember a lot of different things over time. So a little nostalgic, but we have this last year here, and then there'll be exciting new beginnings next year.
Right. But, get out and support those teams. And it's just amazing the different things that they've been able to do. Brighton played at the Big House last year.
That's cool.
Howell went all the way up and played at Traverse City.
Yeah, because these teams are so good. Is really what it boils down to, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And, just wanted to key on some of those things with the schools. If you're out there doing the back to school shopping and everything, there are a lot of great organizations in the area that are charities that give away school supplies. So if you're looking to support local charities, they're always collecting school supplies to help out.
Makes a difference.
So that's good as well.
Several really great ones. So certainly look back to some of our episodes. Love Inc. We recently had
Bountiful Harvest.
Well, we have Bountiful Harvest too.
United Way?
Livingston United Way.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are all great groups that help people that need it, and certainly in that back to school time period, people that are hurting definitely need a little extra help for sure. Do you have any other back to school?
I don't think so. I think a lot of the whole back to school is just, grabbing those last few weeks of summer, enjoying that, and then just taking some time to transition and understanding that if your parents listening to this, have some patience for your kids because it's going to be tough for them going back.
Yeah.
And if your kids have some patience with your parents because it's tough in the opposite direction. We're all tired.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. The good news is we still have warm weather for just a real little bit of time, and we're in Michigan. And Michigan is such a beautiful state. Make memories, because sometimes, speaking as a parent here, I will say that I get so caught up moving from one crisis to the next, okay? And back to school becomes one of those. But when you stop and take a moment, we've got our cameras here, take photos, but really experience that time with your kids and make some memories. Something as simple as going out for ice cream or going for a walk or just sitting down and listening to them. And what is it that they're concerned about?
What are they excited about?
What are they excited about? You know, make some memories, because the kids just keep growing. And all of a sudden you look back and you go, how did that happen?
Right, exactly. But I would mention one last thing to remind parents of. Take a moment and ask your kids if they did their summer reading list yet.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that a lot of these kids they signed up for AP classes, or they signed up for classes, and when they left school in June, their teachers gave them a packet of homework to do that they stuck in a drawer somewhere, and you may have known about it in June but forgot about it, and your kids 100% forgot about it.
Yeah. Time is running out.
Time's
do the
running
best
out.
You can, but just give yourself some grace, because everybody's in the same boat, and it's rare for people to have been on top of that generally. Sometimes there's overachievers, but it's okay to not to have enjoyed your summer. That's really what you should get out of it.
Right. Sure. So, and I know you put some things here at the very end. We've got a few minutes here. You're jumping into September, which means it's going to be fall.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
We got a little bit of hot weather left, but we all know what happens in September in the state of Michigan, right?
Off the table. Woo.
It comes quick.
Yes.
So what are those things that we should be looking forward to?
Yeah. So just wanted to hit some lightning round. A lot of times we do a whole fall episode, and I don't know that we're going to end up doing that. So this is kind of serving as that, I think. But for the festivals, we've got the Brighton Smokin' Rockin' Blues. It was always kind of the Blues and Barbecue Fest, but I guess they're shaking it up, and that's awesome. That's September 11th and 12th. Fowlerville, it's a big deal for them to have their Fall Fest over on the fairgrounds. That's on September 12th. This is all for 2026, for those listening not close by to when it's released. Howell does their Witches Night Out. That's always on a Thursday night. That's September 24th. It's long before Halloween because the weather's at least still nice. It's a great ladies' night out event. So much fun. A lot of freebies, a lot of discounts, but just a lot of good camaraderie. So bring some friends and a witch's hat, and there you go. Stars Hollow. This year is going to be September 26th. I'm going to let you talk about that one.
Well, I have yet to go to Stars Hollow, but I hear all about it. So that is going to be the Gilmore Girls event in downtown Brighton, where they have some stars in from the show Gilmore Girls, which has a huge following.
It does. But what's even cooler is our local shops transitioned to shops that were from the show.
Yes,
right.
from the town of Stars Hollow.
Yeah, from the Stars Hollow. Yeah,
yes.
The Gilmore Girls show that, the town of Stars Hollow, and it's so cute. And I know, the bookstores brought in product, and I know some of the other stores have too. Everybody gets into it, and it's a big event. So if you haven't gone to see it like you're right. You should make a point to.
And a huge number of people come out to it. And, like our daughter never watched the show. Her and her friends went to the event, and they had a blast.
It's so much fun. I think
yes.
There's a little, what is it? Almost like a scavenger hunt.
It's a scavenger hunt.
And there's so many things.
Go to the different shops, and you get,
Yeah, so that's
stamped.
That's a fun one. But Hartland has their Art Walk. That's a big event. That is September 27th to the 4th. I'd love to try to get them on. We'll see if that'll work out. And then also, don't forget, apple orchards and pumpkin patches, spicers. They were back in episode 142, and they are doing so much. That's in the north side of the county there, but check them out, because if you haven't been to Spicers at all, or certainly for a while, it's worth going. Absolutely. Fawcett Farms is a great place for getting their pumpkins. I've heard good things about Munsell Farms. That's kind of south of Fowlerville, right off of Mason Road. And then stay tuned that we have plans for an episode to find out what's going on with Howell.
Yes, Howell, Michigan.
Yeah, going to Howell, right?
Yes,
okay.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the fact of the matter is here in Livingston County, there are so many great festivals. There are so many great events. There's something going on every weekend somewhere. There's free concerts on Friday nights. There's car shows happening on the weekends, football games to go to, parades to go see. So it's just an amazing community to live in.
Yeah.
And there's always something fun. So go out there and have fun, but support those local communities.
Absolutely. Those local businesses, in some cases, fall is their bread and butter.
Yeah. And if you have not been to a high school football game,
there you go.
You need to go.
Yeah.
Our kids have always been in the bands.
Yeah.
The bands are amazing. They do such a good job, and they love seeing full stands and people there cheering for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's some of those little hidden treasures, too, that people may not necessarily realize that Howell and Hartland tend to have a drumline battle after the football game, wherever it is. So all these little traditions and these little things are out there, and it's fun just to be part of them, even stumble across and give it a try to experience.
Exactly. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode. Remember, we are realtors by trade. So if you have want any advice or anything, fall is also a great time to transition.
Right.
If you're looking to move.
Absolutely. Honest to goodness. Don't think that there's any one given time to buy or sell. There's great opportunities throughout the year.
Exactly. Yep. Well, thank you guys all for listening today. I hope you got something out of it. Please check out our other episodes. We have episode 200 coming up, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah, stay tuned. It'll be kind of a whole fun thing. So you've got to come back in a couple of weeks just to check on that one.
Thanks so much.
And welcome to Livingston.